In this video, I will show you the not so great Airbnb income I'm making with my JVC apartment this year, and this will help you to decide if short-term rentals are really the best strategy for your own properties. Hey everyone, I'm Samir, a dad, investor, and your guide to smarter real estate decisions in Dubai. I share my wins and my mistakes so that you don't have to repeat them. Today, I'm breaking down the numbers for my 2-bedroom JVC apartment over the past 6 months. Was short-term rental really worth it? Let's find out. So why we tried short-term rentals? Back in 2023, my wife and I bought several apartments in JVC. Like many investors, we believe that short-term rentals will maximize our income, so we furnished the place, took professional photos, listed it, hired a cleaning team, the whole process. And honestly, it was a fascinating learning experience. I will probably make a separate video diving deeper into that journey. But after 18 months into this, we took a step back. Where yes, we hit our financial targets, the ROI was better than the long-term rentals, but the mental load, the constant stress, it was anything but passive income. Even though we streamlined the operations, there were still emergencies here and there. The worst thing that happened is actually one of the guests flooded the apartment completely by breaking the toilet shower, and he just left the apartment. The neighbor downstairs started to have water dripping from his ceiling. He reported it to security, who went to knock at the door of the apartment. There was nobody in it, and after some time they just turned off the water for that unit. And this happened in the middle of the night, so I didn't even answer the phone. So yes, that was an emergency. We had a few others, but on a daily basis, you will still deal with the last minute cancellation, people overstaying their checkout times, and sometimes the midnight calls from the security building because guests forgot their passcode or they don't know how to use the smart lock, or because the security didn't find the IDs that we sent that was in their mailbox. And let's talk about prices, because on that first apartment, we actually reached close to 100% occupancy. Actually, apart from that day where someone flooded the apartment, another day when there was no aircon in the building, and another day because there was some, I can't remember the last issues we had, but on the first year we had 3 days where we could not host anybody. The rest of the days, the apartment was fully occupied all of the time. And to hit 100% occupancy, I had to adjust the rates daily. No dynamic pricing tool would be able to reach that high level of occupancy. And on top of that, we still had to deal with the accounting, the utility bills, the constant coordination. And because we had 4 apartments, it became exhausting. So we realized that for just 10% higher income, the trade-off was not worth it. So at this stage, we had 3 options. One is we could have hired a full team. Like we could have brought an on-site assistant, a virtual support team, and a pricing strategist. But just for 4 apartments, we saw that the cost would have eaten up the profit, so it would have been an overkill. The second option would have been to switch to long-term rental. It would have been simple, hands-off, and with Dubai's booming market, the rental would have been solid. But we would have lost the flexibility to sell vacant units, which is key for maximizing the resale value. And with our exit plan being for 2025 or 2026 the latest, that mattered a lot to us. Or the option 3 would be to partner with a holiday home company. And that really seems like a sweet spot, because in that case we have professionals who will be handling the short-term rentals and hopefully even doing better than we did because they are maybe more used to it. And on the other side, we would still be having the units officially vacant. So if whenever we want to sell, it would be much easier to find a potential end user. That became our decision. And we have been 6 months in it now. And let's have a look together at the numbers. So first, let's have a look at the occupancy. So we can see on this calendar that most of the time it was actually rented for the past 6 months, but they are actually about 3 to 4, 5 days a month where the apartment stayed vacant. And 3 days a month is already 10% of the occupancy that is gone. And remember that 10% is actually the profit we were making compared to what we would have made renting the apartment on long term. So at the end of the year, this 10-15%, it means a lot of money actually. So now let's have a look at the numbers, keeping in mind that in Dubai, from May to October, these are usually considered the low season. So this company managed to rent this apartment 150 nights over the past 6 months, which is an equivalent of 90% occupancy rate, which I believe is very decent for a property management company in Dubai. And overall, they paid me, so my owner payout was 43,668 dirhams over the past 6 months, which is an equivalent of 7,200 dirhams per month. So now we should compare this income with what we could get by renting it on long term. So here is a comparison. So here we can see that for the past 6 months, the long-term rental would have largely outperformed the short-term rental. And remember that these are the break-in months on Airbnb. So the apartment has been there for 6 months only. So it's considered as a new listing. It started with 0 reviews. You have to give some discount when you just start to attract the rates and the reviews. But now I do believe that even if this holiday home company managed to perform 50% better in the next 6 months, which is possible with the high season, they will pay me only 109,000 dirham for this property. If I compare this to the 120,000 dirham of the long-term rental, I'm basically about 11,000 dirham at loss. The point I'm trying to make here is that not all properties will perform better on short term compared to the long term. For this kind of property in Dubai, in the current market, the best way to outperform the long-term rental will be to manage the property by myself. That way I will save the 15 or 20% property management fee, plus I will be able to reach 99 or 100% occupancy rate, which overall will give me an additional 25 or 30% of income at the end of the year. And that means that for this property, if I manage it by myself, I could reach potentially 140,000 dirham of net income. And it is actually very doable because when we manage ourselves a very similar property, we actually reach 148,000 dirham of net income in 1 year. So if you have to take into account that you need to buy furnitures and all of this, it may not be necessarily the best financial decision, I believe, for all apartments, right? So in my case, remember that these are JVC apartments. They are not the fully optimized Burj Khalifa view or Palm Jumeirah kind of apartment that could rent for a very premium price. They are just the average apartment in an average area that are still doing decently on Airbnb. But what's important for me is that I got my time back because I didn't feel like managing those properties again. It was taking too much of time and energy. And what really matters to me at this stage is the flexibility, because you know that with the JVC supply that is coming in the market in the next few months or couple of years, I need to sell this unit vacant when the time is right. I do not want to have only investors looking at my apartment when it's time to sell. They will negotiate a lower price because they are like me, ROI focused. I want to be able to sell my apartment to an end user who will want to stay and live in the apartment, because these are the type of buyers who will want to pay a premium if they like the place. Also, a lot of you ask about my Airbnb setup cost, the furniture, the photo, the software. So I made a detailed video on that, and the link is above, around here, I believe. And if you are debating short-term versus long-term rentals, ask yourself, is the extra income worth the hustle? Let me know in the comments, what is your strategy? Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, hit subscribe for more Dubai real estate insights. I'll see you in the next one.